Hello everybody, welcome back to Knocking Over Naxx. Now, the last time we entered Naxx, we had to go and make a very specific deck to deal with Baron Rivendare. Now, that wasn't necessarily the best decision in the world, but after trying to beat him several times and failing horribly, I was at the end of my patience. So I decided that for today, for Patchwerk, which is the next boss in the Solo Adventure Wing, we'd try it without using a specific deck, and we'd see how well that went. Now, for any of you who have fought Patchwerk previously, you already know how this is probably going to go out. This is Patchwerk, ladies and gentlemen.
Patchwerk is sewn together from adventurers who couldn't defeat Lorewalker Cho.
That's a reference to the tutorial level, because Lorewalker Cho was said to be a bit too strong in the tutorial, so they're making a joke to that, basically. Patchwerk is actually sewn together from adventurers, though. His power is actually for 4 and destroys a minion, whatever minion he likes. That makes things rather difficult, you'd think. Well, it really does depend. Now, because of what he does, I'm picking Spell It Out. And I'll explain why in just a second, actually, because you'll see as soon as we enter the battle. Patchwerk. Now, all of these are useless, and you can probably see why. In fact, Nefarian's useless too. Sorry, Nefarian. So, okay, that's actually better. That is a 5/8 weapon with Death Rattle. Death Rattle, put this weapon into your hand. I will die in 6 turns, unless I put taunts down, unless I like really try hard. He doesn't draw cards. His hero powers destroy a minion, just a minion. He can pick up random. Patchwerk, therefore, is going to be very hard to kill. For that reason. Now, I don't know whether he'll actually physically target. No, he won't. He'll just hit me in the face again. And can I blame him? Not really. Flame Lance is useless because he doesn't play any minions. But we'll play 2 spells so I can do the extra damage. So he's on 23, but I've got 3 turns. And he's going to destroy the Flame Walker. Yep. Oh god, yep, I'm dead in 2 turns. I need a Taunt or a Freezing spell, and I don't get either. Right. Cast out minions, hit him for 3. He's down to 20. If I get a Frostbolt, I could survive. I lose my Dalaran Mage there. Yep, his weapon has 3 charges left now. Fireball! Can I actually... No, I probably can't. Like, Fireball, Hero Power, hit him for 2. Yeah, so I go him down to 8. But he kills me now, and I can't stop him. Boom! There we go! That's Patchwerk, ladies and gentlemen! Patchwerk will just straight up kill you. So, we're not actually going to use this deck against Patchwerk, because Patchwerk is too strong. Well, he's too specific. We're actually going to modify the Spell It Out deck, which I'm going to show you right here. So hang on, let me just Death to Patchwerk. Yep, so we'll just get rid of all of these first before we continue. Right, you will die in 6 turns generally, so it's not a wise idea to have minions that are stronger than that. First things first, Ice Lance and Arcane Missiles. We want Mana Worms, we want Mirror Images. Anything that targets minions is useless. Frostbolts are nice. Those Snow Chuggers, they're also quite nice. We also want Sorcerer's Apprentice is lovely. Arcane Intellect to draw spells. Frost Nova's useless. Duplicate, probably use. Actually, no, it isn't, because Duplicate can synergize with the Arcane Intellect minions and give me more of those, but even then, it's not really worth it. Ice Block I could get Ice Barrier and Ice Block, actually, so I'm going to do both. That means that I will survive longer, which will make it harder for him to kill me. Flame Walkers, obviously. Vaporize is pointless. Spellbind is pointless. Polymorph Boar, pretty pointless. Kirin Mage would have synergy with secrets, but it's not really going to be necessary. More spell power would be nice, but it's not really important. We do not want to give him any cards. He's already pretty strong. Dalaran Aspirant, probably pointless because we don't really going to be playing him. Water Elemental, that'd be nice, because that's more freezing. You can see the kind of thing we're going for here. Fireballs, and then... I'm just trying to think. Okay. Ethereal Conjurer, because that will give us the ability to discover more spells. And I'm just thinking, do we have any mechs in our hand? Yes, we do. We have Snow Chokers. So let's take Goblin Blast Mages. Nothing in this deck costs... The highest cost thing in this deck is 5 mana, which means we'll be able to play everything on the turn we get it. As you see, we get Frostbolts, we have Ice Lances. We basically have every way we physically can to freeze him. And that's what we're going to try and do. We can't kill him in the traditional way, because killing him in the traditional way is actually very, very difficult because of how his deck works. Now, other things you can do are bring in minions that destroy his weapon. It actually costs 4 mana to play his weapon, which we'll see in a second. Once he slops down. Snowchoker is really nice. Blast Mage is also really nice because that synergizes lovely. We're going to toss back the Ethereal Conjurer, see if we get a turn 3. We get turn 4. That's not too bad. Notice that this weapon is actually a 3 mana weapon, so you can play... You could coin a Ooze on turn 1, get rid of it, and you couldn't use it for 2 turns, which is lovely. So what we're actually going to do here is we're actually going to coin the Snowchoker, rather than the combo I wanted to do, which is a shame, because it doesn't get the buff from the Mana Worm, but there's a reason for that. I can keep hitting him repeatedly and freeze him. At least until turn 4, where he will become much harder to deal with. So we're going to Mana Worm Arcane Missiles, and then we're going to freeze him. He now can't attack, so his turn will immediately end. There we are. So yes, freezing him, highly effective. Next turn, however, he'll be able to destroy a minion at random, and he'll probably destroy the Snow Chugger. Not that it will help him for this turn, when he'll be frozen. Which he will do to... Yep. It's the obvious choice, really. Unfortunately, that means we don't actually have a freezing minion on the board. Keeping a board against Patchwerk is very, very difficult. But, with our huge amounts of spell synergy, we've already got him down to 10 health. This is mages, my friends. We should use our Mana Worm next. Right, it's a matter of what do we play next. I reckon we play Ice Block, and Ping. That gets him down to 5, meaning a Fireball will finish him. Ice Block will also mean that I won't die immediately if he kills me. That gives me about 4 turns before I die. Okay, Arcane Intellect is nice, so we'll draw that. Ice Barrier and a Sorcerer's Apprentice. Okay, so we'll Ice Barrier. That should keep us alive for even longer, so we're going to survive as long as we can. Right, Ice Barrier, so he can't kill me, because I've got 8 armor on top of my 15 health. Lovely. That gives me 18 health, which means I'll survive for 5 strikes because of that. Excellent. Now, Sorcerer's Apprentice, Water Elemental, Mirror Image. Now I survive, and he's got taunts in the way. He may use his Hateful Strike to kill one of the taunt, or the Frost minion. Doesn't matter, because he's actually dead this turn, which is lovely. So what we'll actually do is Ethereal Conjurer. What spell is he going to give us? Ice Lance, Counterspell, Cone of Cold. We'll take Ice Lance, actually, because... Fun fact! Ice Lance synergizes with all types of freezing. Boom! Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
My avatar of war. I should have sewn him together from better players.
That might have actually helped, although I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how abominations work. But yes, that's how you beat Patchwerk. Honestly, using a gimmick deck, rather difficult. And considering Freeze Mage was the meta for quite a while, that's really the only way to beat him. You have to keep him frozen, prevent him from doing anything, and then beat him down. Honestly, Freeze Mage only works against Patchwerk, because a lot of the other bosses don't have physical attacks. It doesn't work against Rivendare because he's immune. It does work against Vesuvius, so Freeze Mage against Vesuvius would probably work. None of these guys have weapons, none of those guys have weapons. Gluth? No, is that Gluth? Yeah, that is Gluth. It would probably work against Gluth because he has a weapon, but I'm probably not going to use it because it's not a gimmick that I like. My spell on deck is just a mage spell deck, so it's nothing special. But yeah, guys, that's it for Patchwerk. You can't beat him with the gimmicks unless your gimmick is don't die horribly, which is not really a gimmick. But yeah, that's actually it for the episode, and I will see you next time.